You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
We have the best listeners.
We really do.
When you host a program called the Coffee Hour and you have listeners who send you coffee.
It's fantastic. I was so excited yesterday. Literally jumping around.
It's exciting when we get a package addressed to the Coffee Hour, too.
That's true. And It smelled like coffee.
And it smelled like coffee.
Thanks
to Viola Saddlemeyer. Thank you so much for sending us coffee this week.
From Michigan. That's the best part.
Being a native Michigander.
Yes. It made my heart very happy.
I'm pretty sure you almost jumped over the cubicle.
I almost did.
When
I couldn't get it open fast enough.
So thank you so much, Vi, for sending that.
It's very delicious, by the way. I AeroPressed it yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Really good. This was at like 6 o'clock last night, too, so...
Well, it is May 16th, and I believe we are right in the midst of Ramadan. Joining us now by phone, Pastor Hesham Shehab, who's with Salam Christian Fellowship and outreach of Peace Lutheran Church in Lombard, Illinois. Pastor Shehab, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much.
So, what is Ramadan? Is it a season? Is it an observance? Is it a festival? What exactly is Ramadan?
Yeah. Ramadan is 9th month of the lunar calendar. You know, Muslims observe the lunar calendar officially. So it rotates around the year usually, because every year it's 11 days earlier. So Ramadan is a month, or actually 29 days sometimes. It depends on the moon. So all Muslim adults must give up food and drink from dawn to sunset for 30 days or 29 days. They are not allowed to consume anything during the fasting hours. So as I said, fasting is a fourth pillar of Islam. So even a single sip of water would break the fast. Muslims cannot eat really anything. So, but they can, before dawn, eat a light meal in order to help them, survive the day, kind of. So after sunset, Muslims eat a lot. Usually, it's like a Thanksgiving dinner for 30 days, actually. So family and friends gather and break the fast at sunset, usually, and a lot of food. Fasting is not the only thing Muslims are asked to abstain from. Also, during the daylight hours, also there is no sexual activities, smoking. Muslims are encouraged or supposed not to swear or argue or gossip. So they have really to observe all, commandments of Islam strictly. And they, however, it doesn't happen that way most of the time. It becomes a community event, and they celebrate every night, actually, eating and drinking. And usually stomach doctors do very well during Ramadan. Many people go to the ER because of overeating. However, Muslims who are not physically well, ill, or young, or elderly, or breastfeeding, also women in their period are excused from fasting. However, they can make up for those days that they missed during the Ramadan later, before the next Ramadan. And so they believe that there are many good reasons for them to obey Allah. Islam started fasting actually Yom Kippur only. And then Muhammad fasted Mondays and Thursday, like the Jewish Pharisees. And later Muslims were encouraged to fast 3 days every month. Then when Muhammad moved to Medina, there are two phases of Islam. Before immigration to Medina in Mecca, which was just a very simple religion, it didn't take its features till later when Muhammad moved to Medina in 622 AD. There he observed how the Jews were fasting, so he started imitating them. Then a verse in the Quran was revealed saying to him, allegedly saying that you have to fast 1 month, the whole month of Ramadan, and it became really one of the pillars of Islam. So Muslims try to obey Allah in this and learn how to have self-discipline and they try to become spiritually stronger and try to appreciate God's gifts and feel with the poor and try to help the poor. Usually during this month, Muslims are very generous. They give out their alms to the poor, which is one of the pillars of Islam too. It's the third pillar, say the two testimonies, there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is messenger, prayer. Then there is zakat. Zakat means it's like almsgiving, but it's more like tithing. So 2.5% of their annual savings is given that month to the poor, in addition to another form of zakat, end of the month, to every person, whether rich or poor, should give to the poor. It equals a meal or two. So Ramadan is marked with a lot of generosity and celebrations, especially at the end of Ramadan, which when they break the fast together, and it's called iftar, which is an Islamic holiday. The importance of Ramadan also comes out of the revelation of the Quran, that they believe that the first verse of the Quran were revealed in a night during Ramadan to Muhammad for the first time. Actually, if you want more details, they believe that the Quran is the word of Allah, letter and meaning, eternal word of Allah. So they believe that the Quran came down from the seventh heaven to the first heaven in Ramadan, all of it, and then was revealed to Muhammad piecemeal gradually during his life. So they observe or really seek one night called the Night of Destiny, which is very important for Muslims. They believe that the destiny of all humanity is determined during that night, which lies in one of the last 10 days of Ramadan. Usually they don't know which night, so they observe it with prayers during the night. Some Muslims, devout Muslims, stay in the mosque for 10 days for that and fast and just break the fast in the mosque. And so Islam is really more of a communal, religion. It's a shame culture, and whether you are excused to break, not to fast or not, you cannot really eat in public. And this is a big shame. And in some Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, you can be fined or put in jail because if you're seen eating in public. And there are other legal implications to that. So people try to respect, even if you're not a Muslim living in a majority Muslim country, you have to observe, that during the day not to smoke or eat in public or being seen drinking in public. Otherwise, you will be shamed or punished. So I am reminded all the time, every Ramadan, of Jesus' words, really, that if you, when you fast, don't look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces, that their fasting may be seen by others. As he said also, I say to you, they have received their reward. So, I mean, we have we see that Muslims even, they force the young kids. Sometimes they don't force the young kids. Young kids see that adults are fasting and they want to imitate them, and they suffer a lot, especially during summer days, However, if you're rich and you can take a vacation like many Saudis and Gulf residents, the Arab Gulf, they really sleep during the day and celebrate and party during the night. So this way they can skip, go through the month of Ramadan easier than the poor who have to work and toil. And some people really borrow money in order to eat well during the Ramadan. So for some people, it's really a burden. This reminds us that we are saved by grace, and we have really to pray for our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Pastor Hesham Shehab, Salam Christian Fellowship of Peace Lutheran Church in Lombard, Illinois. Thank you so much for those insights. And Sarah, you growing up in Dearborn, you probably saw this quite a bit. I can imagine. It's just, things are different during that nearly month of Ramadan. Thank you so much, Pastor Shehab, for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today.
Thank you. God bless you.
Wow. So, pointing to the fact that we are saved by grace, but and doing that graciously in conversations, and also being mindful of what you're doing, out in public. If you're living in a community that is predominantly Muslim, did you encounter that a lot in Dearborn?
A little bit, yeah. I was cognizant of what was going on, with my neighbors, and when the month of Ramadan was over, bringing them food and being like, hey. Yes, here, have some food with us. Food it's the universal language of life.
Right. It's all about grace.
Yes.
Well, that does it for the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.